This week I thought it was time for a little Q&A. I had a few new sort of subscribers and a lot of interest in my videos recently, so I thought I'd do... Right, stop wagging your tail because you're going to make a noise in the video. If you can hear weird noises, it's because there's a dog here just kind of demanding my attention. As you can see, I'm not in the van, I'm not out travelling. I am house sitting this week. I've been here for a couple weeks. Today is actually my last day here, but it's actually been so nice to be in. I'm in like a little cottage in the middle of the New Forest, which is absolutely lovely. I made a little post the other day asking for some questions and I have some to answer, so let's get cracking. Okay, starting strong. How many hours did you need until your van was finished? I didn't actually count the exact hours, but I can give you a rough estimate of weeks and the time that I spent on it. I think it was about 3 months. I did have, in between that 3 months, I did have a few weeks where I was like occupied with other things, so I couldn't do the stuff on the van. But apart from a couple weeks here and there, most of the time I spent like all day on the van, so I wasn't doing it around work. When I first did my caddy a couple years back, I was doing that whilst I was also working a few jobs and stuff, so that took a lot longer. But yeah, because I was able to just smash it out and just get straight on with it, I actually got it done pretty quick. If you could change 3 things in your van, what would it be? Now, people always ask this. I don't know if it's because like they want to know what I did wrong, or like the things that obviously I've like got used to and thought that it needed changing. But I actually think I designed my van so well that there's barely anything that I would change. It's like very small things. I mean, obviously if I did another van, I would probably go for a completely different layout just to like try it out and do something completely new. But the layout that I built for this van worked perfectly for what I needed it for. Because I'm a solo traveller in the van most of the time, occasionally my partner joins me, but most of the time it's just me, so I didn't need like loads of space. I didn't need a toilet cubicle for privacy because it's just me in there. So yeah, if I was to do a van for probably 2 people living in there, I would like prioritise having different spaces in the van. I would probably have swivel seats and things like that. But to go back to your question, 3 things about my van specifically. This is going to be very like nitpicky now. The sofas in the back of the van, I would probably make them a tiny bit shorter, just because when I'm sat on them my feet are like very they're like dangling a little bit, so it's not the comfiest. So just bear that in mind if you're building a van. Make your seats the exact height that you need it for. I would maybe add another solar panel, or try and add the like bracket so that my solar panel can go up, because in the winter it's very hard to get solar. In the summer it's perfectly fine. I've got enough solar to like run an air fryer and all the other things that I need, but in the winter it is a bit of a challenge. I do have like an inverter that I charge from my van battery in the winter, which works well enough as well, so that's not a massive like need. It's just something that I could change if I wanted. I would probably build more drawers in the kitchen. So my kitchen, I have a few big cupboards, 1 drawer and like 1 little pantry thing. The drawers are so much easier to like organise everything and like maximise the space and like be able to get stuff straight away. So I'd probably do pretty much all drawers, even if they were like deep drawers for like pots and pans and stuff. I would try and do drawers. The only problem is with that is like there's a lot more involved, and you've got to like buy the slide runners, whatever they're called, and like measuring it out is such a faff. So if you've got the time and the ability to do the drawers, then do that, and yeah, it's definitely will be a lot easier and help keep your kitchen a lot more organised. I think as well, if you had a smaller kitchen where it was literally like 1 unit, then loads of drawers would be really useful. Was that 3? I'm not sure. Yeah, that was 3. Oh, there is actually, right now I start to like actually think of things. So I'm going to scrap the idea of the solar. I'm going to keep my solar the way I've got it. I'm going to add another roof vent, or an electric roof vent, because the one I've got is not electric and it's at the back of the van rather than over the cooking kitchen space. So it's not very good when you're cooking to try and draw all of the steam out. So that is actually something I would change. What does a typical day look like for you when you're in the van? So good question. The thing is, it's always different, so it very much depends. I can give you a rough day if I'm like traveling in the UK and like working, and then a rough day for if I'm like off on a big adventure road trip or something. So a lot of the times in the UK I'm like working, so not like the big shoot days, so I work as a wedding photographer. So let's go for, say it's a Tuesday, I've just shot a wedding at the weekend, it's Tuesday, I would probably be somewhere near a town. I would probably wake up, have breakfast, have a coffee, hopefully I found a nice spot to park that wasn't too close to the town, and then maybe I will get some work done if I've got enough power in the van to power my laptop. I would then probably go and find a gym, have a shower, have a workout, and maybe go to a coffee shop to do some more work with my laptop, edit some photos, do some emails, all that stuff. And then if it's summer and it's a long day, I'd probably then either, I don't know, if I was on the coast or something, maybe go for a swim or a walk along the beach. If I was like in, say, the Peak District, I might go for a walk and find a waterfall. But yeah, that's the day when I'm like working. So yeah, I still try and have a good work-life balance where I'm still getting outside but also working at the same time. And then there's like the other side of it where I'm travelling, and like even if this is in the UK, I tend to like split my time into like travelling. So like this week I'll be travelling, I'm just travelling, I'm not doing any work apart from a few odd emails here and there. And then like this week, okay, I've got to be somewhere this weekend, that weekend I'm just going to stay around the towns and be productive. When I'm travelling, I will probably hopefully be in a nice spot, wake up, enjoy the views, have a coffee, breakfast, all of that stuff, and then go for a hike, a walk, or swim, whatever, wherever I am, and explore and pretty much try and be outside for most of the day, come back, make some dinner and go to bed. And that is what I try and do when I'm travelling, just be outside as much as possible. So yeah, hopefully that gives you an idea into what my daily life is like. I mean, it's different, it depends on what I'm doing, where I'm to. That's something that can be good with van life, is every day is different really. What are some of the best spots I've discovered for van life in the UK? Well, in the UK, there's not too many exciting places. I really love Wales. Every time I go back to Wales, I really enjoy it. Not just Snowdonia, because Snowdonia is stunning, well, Erie National Park is stunning, and like the Anglesey area, I don't think I've been too far onto Anglesey, I've been like near the edge of it, but that whole like North Wales area is stunning. But South Wales is also amazing, and it's not too far from where I'm usually based, so the Brecon Beacons is a few hours from sort of where I base myself, and yeah, Wales is amazing. It's not like overpopulated, there are still towns where you can get like groceries and things like that, but they're pretty chill on parking and things. In most places, in some of the more touristy spots, you will struggle to park, but they're usually pretty friendly with it. A few other places, I mean, I really love the Lake District, but I'll be honest, it's not the best for van life. There's a lot of narrow roads, you can't park in many places. Yeah, you probably can find a few good spots, but not too many. The Peak District tends to be pretty good for van life, to be fair. There's a lot of good like rural park ups, but there are a lot of cities around as well, so it sometimes can get really busy, and like you can get boy races and stuff like that, but that's something you got to deal with. In terms of like further, I mean, I know Scotland is going to be amazing. I'm hopefully going to do a little winter trip, but I'm not too sure yet if I actually am or not. But yeah, Scotland is somewhere I've yet to really explore. I've only done a tiny bit near like Edinburgh and the Galloway Forest, but I know Scotland is pretty good for van life, so I'm looking forward to that. What's been the most memorable place I've visited in the van? Memorable, probably Switzerland. I did a first little trip in the Caddy. I did literally, I don't know how, I did 2 weeks in Europe, and I went all the way down to Switzerland and Italy. And Switzerland wasn't really somewhere I was thinking, I was just kind of cutting through, but I can't remember where it was I visited on the first stop, but there was somewhere and I just thought it was amazing. And then when I went back in the red van, I added a few places in Switzerland that I really wanted to visit, and it really does live up to the hype. Like, you see these pictures online of a lot of places that look incredible, and they're not it's just the angle of the photo or the sunset or something. But Switzerland, like, it really looks how the pictures are. And I had one day where I wasn't planning to do any travelling. I was in a really nice park up, and there was like mountains everywhere. The leaves started to go orange, and I was like, I'm just going to go for a walk just to get some fresh air. Just walking, 20 minutes later. Oh no, you know what it was? I was looking on Google Maps, just on like the normal terrain view or whatever it is, not even satellite view, and I just saw a little blue dot, and I was like, oh, I'll just wander over here to this lake. 20 minutes wander over, and it was like the most impressive lake I'd ever seen, because I wasn't expecting it. I hadn't seen any pictures of it, and I think as a photographer, a lot of my travels are based around like going to epic photo spots. So it was really nice to go to this place that I hadn't seen any pictures of, and I just got there and I was like, what have I just stumbled upon? There was no one there. There was a few little campers, because there was actually a car park where you can park right next to the lake. And then there was like a glacier in the background, mountains, and I was like, whoa, this is wild. And then later that day I continued driving all along the mountain pass and back down, and the whole road was just incredible. That was probably one of my favourite memories of that trip, to be fair. So yeah, definitely my favourite place. Do you have a diesel heater? How noisy is it? And can you like stealth camp in a residential street and have the heater on without being noticed? To be fair, they are quite noisy. So yeah, I do have a diesel heater. I'm not sure if like the more expensive ones are less noisy. If you're in like a big open space, like a big car park, or like somewhere where there's like wind and there's other noises, like a noisy road or something, it will be less noticeable. You'll just hear a faint like and like a ticking noise of the pump. But if you're in like a really quiet area, or I find when I'm parked at my mum's house on her driveway, the sound like echoes, because there's a house either side, so the sound echoes out, and it can be quite loud. It's like a really loud but a bit louder. Obviously, imagine if you're outside as well, you hear that. So yeah, I do sometimes worry, but I think a lot of people just know that it's a camper van. If you're parked up in places where there's other vans, they'll know that's the sound of a diesel heater. And like people might just, if it was just someone walking past, and they might have just think, oh, that's a delivery van with like aircon or something running. If you, oh my gosh, Bonnie, Jesus, she scared me. Let me go check that's not the door. There was a package at the door. Where was I? Diesel heaters. Yeah, so they can be quite noisy in places where it's really quiet, but if you're just stealth camping for one night, like, it's probably not going to be a problem, unless you are really close to someone's house. The thing is about houses is that they're quite soundproof, so from inside a house you probably won't hear it, only if you're like walking past you'll hear it. Do you have a dream destination that you're hoping to reach in your van someday? Yes, I have like a road trip that I've seen so many times that I kind of think I want to do. I'm not sure if I would be happy with the idea to just visit those places without the van, or with like a rental van, or if I'd really want to do the whole trip in my van. But I really want to go to Cappadocia in Turkey, and obviously also Greece as well, because my girlfriend is Greek and lives in Greece, and I really want to take the van from the UK to Greece and then go through like Albania and Montenegro, either on the way or on the way back. I'd probably get the ferry on the way and then travel through Albania and Montenegro on the way back. Yeah, that's one trip that I want to do, and I think like after I do that trip, I think I'd be happy to be like, yeah, I'm done with van life now. Like, I'd always probably have a van of some sorts, but in terms of like big road trips in my own van, that probably would like tick all of the boxes, you know? Like, I know there's like so many other routes as well you can do. Like, you could go up to Norway and Finland and do all of those countries as well, or you could go down to Spain and Portugal, and that would be an amazing road trip. Yeah, there's a lot of options, but I think Turkey and like doing the whole trip to Turkey and back would be something that I want to do. Hopefully in the next few years, but I mean, it depends. I'm a bit worried that Turkey is going to be one of those places that looks incredible, and then you go and it's just not as good as it looks online. Sit down. Oh, you're laying down. Okay. You're just going to lay there on my lap, are you? What's one thing you wish someone had told you before starting van life? it's like very addicting, I think, because like, Bonnie, careful. You just choked me. Bonnie. It's very addicting, like you do one trip and you're like, oh my god, there's so many other places I could go, like I want to do this trip now. And you do kind of feel like you've got all this freedom, you could go and do what you want, but also you kind of like, there's no need to just rush and do it. Like, all these places are still going to be there in a few years, and that's something that I'm constantly trying to remind myself. Like, I'm always like, oh, I just want to do another road trip, I want to go here, I want to go there, but like there's no rush, and I'd rather do it when I've like firstly got the budget and the time and like in the right headspace, so that I'm not feeling guilty about other things and like being absent and like stressing about stuff. So yeah, like just it's addicting, so go careful. Once you start your first trip, you'll not want to stop. I think that is all of the questions done. I hope you got a little bit of an insight. Bonnie, stop wagging your tail. I know you're excited, but the noise is going to be very annoying. So, hope you enjoyed that and you found out a little bit more about me. I will hopefully be back to adventures soon. The van is currently getting some welding done and then it needs to pass the MOT. But yeah, this week, what day is it? It's Friday. This weekend I'm heading to Edinburgh I've got like one night in Edinburgh and then I've got a couple nights. Are you trying to fit on my lap? And then I've got a couple nights in a cosy little cabin somewhere. You don't fit there, you don't fit. And then I've got a couple nights in a cabin with my girlfriend. Bonnie. Right, I'm nearly finished with the video, just give me 30 seconds. So yeah, what was I saying? Yeah, I'm going to a cosy little cabin for a couple nights, doing some content for them, which I'm looking forward to, and then Edinburgh for one night, and then my girlfriend's going to be with me in the van for a couple weeks, so hopefully we'll get some vlogs and see how that goes. You're not going to fit anywhere. You're going to sit right there, are you? You're going to make space on my lap. Oh, okay, good girl. Stay there. So thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed, and subscribe, stick around, let me know if you've got any more questions in the comments, and we'll see you next week. Say bye, Bonnie. Say bye. Say bye.